Danny, actually, it's not a puncture. They think they may have a very, very small leak. But as you know, inside the cockpit of the car, a driver has to give the feedback, and then the crew tries to tell them based on the telemetry. Right now, they're not concerned about it actually exploding. They're just concerned about it really affecting the handling. They feel like even if they fade back to 10th position, better than coming into the pits out of sequence and losing a lap.
Well, I would agree with them there, but I'm still telling you from the guy inside the cockpit, from his head, that's a worry for him at the speeds that he's going right now.
Well, Jimmy Vasser is falling steadily backwards. He's now in 9th place, so he lost 4 positions just in the space of 2 laps there, and Gil de Ferran just went around him. And Michael Andretti is now moved up and is right behind Adrian Fernandez, opening a battle for 3rd place. So at the Michigan 500, the first laps run under yellow flag after Emerson Fittipaldi caught the wall. And then the lead changed from Vasser to Zanardi and finally to Greg Moore, who has the lead right now. The question that we have not yet been able to answer, but perhaps we can now, is the condition of Emerson Fittipaldi, Gary Gerould.
Well, we moved back to the safety center, and we were advised that Dr. Steve Olvey might be available at most any minute, but then team members have also told us Dr. Olvey is preparing Emerson for a trip to Foot Hospital in Jackson, Michigan. It's a short 20 or so miles from the racetrack. He's complaining of pain in his back. Dan Lulgenbuhl, one of the vice presidents of the Penske organization, told us that it seems to be a similar concern that put Paul Tracy in the hospital after his crash yesterday. That's the extent of the information for the moment. The team seems to be very relieved, obviously still concerned, but they'll be taking Emerson in for further evaluation in Jackson.
Well, it seems like fairly good news that Emerson is not seriously injured, and I tell you what, that old guy, whoa! A brush, or did he just kick up the dust from the oil dry?
I don't know.
We watched Fernandez moving in front of Michael Andretti and charging Zanardi.
But that was Zanardi that was up in the dust against the wall. I don't know if he actually touched it. It was very close, but you don't want to be up there. That's where the debris is from that incident. He could pick up anything up there.
I was about to say, Emerson Fittipaldi is one tough guy. It takes a lot to put him down. Now take a look. Here is the...
Oh, he's up high.
Oh, boy.
He's up high. No, I think he just kicked up the dust. I think he got it. But I can tell you, his heart was in his mouth at that moment.
Boy, he had to be pounding away. Jack Arute?
Well, Alex Zanardi also is complaining of a loose condition, gentlemen, and that's what might have caused part of that. He is going to make, during his pit stop, a wing adjustment. Danny Sullivan, you know, sometimes just a half twist on a wing can solve a loose condition.
You're absolutely right there, Jack, but it's not comfortable. And what that tells me, if both cars are going loose, that means that their setup was really good for qualifying, but their cars are going to go to loose, and that could be a condition that they cannot adjust just with a wing adjustment. It might be more severe than that.
Michael Andretti just overhauled Davy Jones in the Delco car, now replacing Eddie Lawson at the wheel there, and now he begins to move on the 4 car of Alex Zanardi. Red car is Zanardi, black car is Michael. The fight is for 3rd as Michael just overhauls him, takes it over. Greg Moore leads, Fernandez 2nd. Now Michael Andretti 3rd, Zanardi 4th, and Alonso Jr. 5th. Back at the front of the field, the leaders have traffic ahead of them. Let's watch Greg Moore. Remember, he's a rookie in terms of Indy cars, has extensive racing experience, most notably in his run for the championship last year in the Indy Lights Series. And they slow because the yellow comes out. And the report is it's for debris on the track. You see, not only the yellow flag, but the red and yellow course condition flag. I mean, something's on the course up there that shouldn't be.
Well, and that could be a little oil or something. They'll close the pits, but these guys will be ready for when they open the pits. Now, this will really help Vasser and Zanardi because they'll come in, change their tires, and make an adjustment.
And remember, under the rules for ovals of the IndyCar established at Milwaukee, when they open the pits, it'll be the lead group first, and then those a lap down. We'll be back. Field gathered up behind Desiree Wilson driving the pace car here. They just opened the pits, and so with an 80-mile-an-hour speed limit, the leaders will come off, and their teams are ready and waiting for them. Greg Moore stops first by Gary Gerould.
Comes in and hits those marks. First of probably 6 pit stops anticipated by these teams if it turns out to be a good day for the full 500 miles. We see no indication of change or hesitation, and smokes the tires in 13 seconds, Jack.
And Adrian Fernandez, they make a wing adjustment on the front of his car. Both the Tasman team and the Ganassi team are out. It's a drag race down here with Michael Andretti in the mix, and it looks as if Andretti beat both Tasman and Ganassi out.
That's exactly right. Michael Andretti came out of there. His pit was a little further down, so maybe he could take a greater chance on accelerating out of his pits. And he got out a nose ahead of both Zanardi and Fernandez. There you are on board. Bobby Rahal had a problem. Looks like he's stalled down at the end of the pits. His crew will have to go get him. Well, Bobby Rahal, who was up at the back of the top 10, and they're running down to make sure that it's a simple problem.
That'll cost him big time no matter what,
yeah.
because he'll for sure go a lap down here.
IndyCar officials right there, they always bring a bucket of water, so in case there's a fuel spill or anything, they can take care of it. Something as simple as the heat buildup underneath that cowling on the back, it could cause damage, and those cowlings are pretty expensive, so they want to be there to be able to help them if they can.
See on the right of your screen, that guy walking along without water, he's...
So Bobby Rahal stalled. Jack, we see you right there.
Well, we're watching the crew. Now they finally, it's a long run for Bobby Rahal's crew to get down here because this is the end of pit road. They are talking to Bobby by way of radio. Now, here's what's going to happen, gentlemen. They came down here. The motor was not running on Bobby Rahal's car. It was amazing to me. Bobby maintained his poise, stayed on the radio, and tried to troubleshoot the problem. Now what's going to happen is this team is going to take the long walk backwards with the race car. They're going to go underneath the side pods. They think it might be an electronics problem.
And so the second group finally comes in, gets their stop done. The helicopter is ready to take Emerson Fittipaldi to the hospital. We'll be back to Michigan after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
ABC Sports coverage of the Michigan 500. Brought to you by Splitfire. Enter the performance zone with Splitfire Performance V spark plugs. Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. Mobil Motor Oil. At Mobil, we've been changing oil for over 125 years. And the more than 1,350 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
Back at the Michigan 500, Michael Andretti was the man who really gained on those stops as we're ready to go back green. Greg Moore is the leader of the race. Michael Andretti was able to get into second place. The bad news on the stops is Bobby Rahal, Gary Gerould.
He's talking with Tim Cindric and the rest of the crew here, and we'll kind of eavesdrop for a moment. See if Bobby, can you tell us, do you have an indication of what turned out to be the problem when you pulled away?
Just something with the engine. I guess it's broken, but I mean, I came in, everything I felt was fine, and we went to pull out, and I heard this gnashing and whirling in the back that was not normal, obviously, and it wouldn't run. I tried to get it down the pit lane, and it quit on me, and they brought it back. We just started, and it was pumping water out the back end, so it's something major.
How close were you to the incident involving Emerson Fittipaldi at the start of this race?
Well, fortunately, just far enough away that I didn't get involved in it. I don't know. I hope he's okay, but you know, anytime one of those things happens in front of you, you're just trying to find clear space, and we were fortunate enough to be able to find that.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Jack?
Gary, here's the right front tire that came off of Jimmy Vasser. You see the cut right here? That's what happened. Now, here's the problem for Vasser. They thought maybe the car was just going loose because the tire didn't deflate quick enough. They made a wing adjustment, so now Jimmy Vasser is going to have a problem handling-wise because it was a cut tire, not a handling condition.
And as we come back to green, it's a fight for the lead as Michael Andretti moves down inside Greg Moore. They go side by side through one, but Michael Andretti pulls ahead in two and leads coming onto the backstretch.
Well, I think that Greg Moore there just got taught a lesson in restarts. Michael Andretti, very good.
Look at Zanardi as he moves to second place. And can he hold on to second place? Yes, he has it now.
What happens here, Paul, is that momentum to get going, he obviously didn't have one of those buttons that they talked about in Zanardi's car. Michael obviously did.
So Zanardi and Greg Moore go side by side through 3 and 4 and close up on Michael. Now Zanardi solidly takes over second place as they come to the backstretch. Moore running a very high line.
Well, we saw that before. If he didn't make an adjustment on his car, it might be that when the fuel load's like this, he has to run up high until it lightens down a little bit.
Here comes Zanardi as he looks for the lead. Alex Zanardi in the red car high, Michael Andretti the black car low. They fight through the corner. And Zanardi takes the lead at the line. So Alex Zanardi back in the lead, but here comes Michael. Michael seems to be able to handle a little lower and still stay at speed.
Well, everybody's car, Paul, will do certain things on full tanks, and they'll handle a little bit different, maybe in the middle of the load, and they can be completely different when the fuel load is light. Well, Michael's car is obviously working down low. That's a good sign for the rest of the day.
Down inside Michael, it's Greg Moore. As he comes around Michael into second place now, takes a shot on that high line for the lead.
What a move.
The 99 car takes the lead. Greg Moore is in front.
Unbelievable. He goes from third to first.
And Adrian Fernandez is now closed in just behind Michael. Michael comes high. Fernandez is going to try him low. Drops in behind him. Down through the tri-oval. First through fourth, right there. Here comes Zanardi battling with Greg Moore. And Zanardi takes the lead.
Paul, this is unbelievable. This is with over 200 laps to go. 4 guys battling for the lead.
41 laps into the record book, 250 to scheduled distance here. And Greg Moore is going to try the leader again. Not close enough this time. Zanardi comes down across the front. Moore moves high.
Saw Michael there. He had to breathe it a little bit. Wasn't sure what was going to happen. Had to breathe it. Now look who's getting a run. The back of the pack. He stayed on it. Was Fernandez.
Correction there. We just come across the 50th lap mark. 50 laps complete right now.
And you see who's right there at the back? That's Alex Ribeiro in 5th place, closing up on that bunch. And he's been back in 11th spot.
Henry Ribeiro closing in. He's in 5th. Al Unser Jr. 6th. Then DeFerrin, then Herta, then Scott Pruitt. Parker Johnstone rounds out the top 10. Greg Moore comes back battling for the lead. Fernandez is right in there. And Moore goes back to the front. Oh, don't you love this? Lead swapping back and forth. Michael Andretti drops all the way down to 4th as Fernandez comes around. And they're still right together. Looks like at this point, Fernandez has the speed.
Paul, again, a lot of that is momentum. When those guys go into a corner and they're racing and everybody's breathing the throttle a little bit and kind of sorting themselves out, the other guy, the guy at the back that's got the clean air, he gets a run on him. He doesn't have to come out of the throttle. These engines and everything around here take a little time to get back up to speed, and he can pick up a spot or two.
Back at the front now, here comes Fernandez. Looks inside. Zanardi, can he hold in there? Oh, they're going to stay side by side, and again, the move is carrying both of them forward, but there's Fernandez taking over second place. Mercedes, then Honda in terms of the engines. So the fight continues at the front of the field. Broken off here. Let's go to Gary Gerould, get a further update on Emerson Fittipaldi.
Dr. Steve Olvey out from the medical center. Can you tell us about Emerson?
Yeah, Gary, Emerson's awake and talking. He's complaining of a lot of pain in the left side of his back. His vital signs are good. He's moving everything. We don't know what's causing the pain, so we're sending him to Foot Hospital in Jackson for further x-rays and examination, but does not appear to be anything very serious at this time.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you, Gary.
Well, that's good news for Emerson Fittipaldi. We want to see him back at the track in an IndyCar right away. Steve Olvey is the Director of Medical Affairs for IndyCar. Here's Michael working on Alex Zanardi.